Gentlemen, if you'll turn your attention to the PowerPoint presentation.
Okay. Well, okay.
Oh no! No! Wait! I thought this was the sex presentation.
No, the sex presentation was for other people. This is explicitly for you poor bastards.
Are we gonna talk about Yang's favorite anime?
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Wait, do I get to share a PowerPoint presentation afterwards too?
Don't click his
maybe,
thing. It's Kermit whacking himself. Don't click it.
I am very glad that I don't have that over my regular thing. But anyway, so as you can see here, I have chosen Peak Degeneracy for my final project.
Makes sense.
So I'm going to be giving you poor schmucks a rough rendition of my Yang, you don't get to play Hearts of Iron 4 to get out of this. That just popped up on fucking recording too.
I will not talk about Gate. I will not talk about
Gate. Gate is a very minor thing, okay?
Wait, Yang, if you're playing Play 4, invite.
As you may have noticed, Yang had a very visceral reaction to the mention of Gate, and so the JSDF fought. To explain why he hates this show so much, I have elected to include the audio from his most recent birthday, in which he received a copy of Gate, the collector's edition, off of Crunchyroll, from me and our other friend Extranon. Suffice it to say, this serves as the best representation of why exactly he hates this anime ever.
Wait. I don't know how boxes work.
Do you not know how boxes work?
Shut up. What am I doing? When you die and face your god, is this the life you will recount to him? This life of sin, of evil, of cruelty? It's the collector's edition!
It's the collector's edition of Gate. What's wrong with that?
It's such a nice copy of such a terrible show! So the context here is that I don't like this program. You could go as far as to say I have very strong feelings about it. I think it would be good if the narrative, the plot direction, the themes, the art direction, basically if everything was different, I think it would be good. We would have a chance. But I owe you nothing. You will burn in the fires of hell. You will deserve it.
Okay, so Yang, come on, please, buddy. You said you would do this.
No, don't worry.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm
Okay,
here. I'm on board. We'll wait,
You're on board for your own torture. Let's go. Okay, so
I love how he tried to escape.
immediately tries to go play a war game
We
instead
love
of engage with
masochism.
this.
We love masochism.
Okay, anyway, so this is my PowerPoint presentation on war and anime, depictions of armed conflict in the genre. So, I began with this. How do you make an abstraction for such a massive pool? And I'm going to be going over the PowerPoint presentation just how much fucking shamming I did in this, because you'll notice that I googled anime about war and got about 460 million results.
Where's brother sister?
Who the fuck?
What?
No. Grog. No. Die. But anyway, so like I did a little bit of trolling on my professor here, right? Because like this is a misleading fucking Google search. Because the way I have this laid out is implying that there are 460 million anime about war.
Okay, let's just look at this for a second.
Yeah,
Yep.
you've got like
Okay.
food wars on
I know,
here.
there's food
Yeah.
wars.
Hey, Star Wars Visions was awful, unrelated,
Okay.
but holy shit, that sucked.
Also, hang on. There's food wars. There's
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin
Wait,
Scissors.
the
Is,
one
no, that's
that's, like,
Pumpkin Scissors. That's
second
actually a
row
war
in the
anime.
middle?
That's actually really good. I will fight you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's
Yeah.
good. Yojo Senki's good.
No anime is good.
Oda
You're all
Nobunaga
degenerates.
is not quite there.
In terms of being
I'm
a war
big Dragon Ball
anime,
Z fan myself.
I also love Dragon
What's
Ball.
the one
I
that's
trust
on
fan
the
games.
top right?
Top right, that's Jormungand. That will come up later.
Left.
Oh, top left. That's fucking Alderman on the Sky. That will also come up later.
Okay, and then in the middle, second row middle, that one's a fucking rom-com.
World War Blue.
Yes.
Yeah. So, as you can see, I've definitely misrepresented this to my professor. I've said that there's this massive pool to work with. And I'm trying to make this seem like a complex and convoluted topic that I've had to boil down to a very fine point.
No, the one to the left of World War Blue.
The one to the left of World War Blue? That's all Noah Zero.
Yeah.
That's not a rom-com.
Oh, no.
So Darwin,
You mean to the right?
one could.
Yeah, the one to the right, sorry.
Yeah.
That one is a fucking rom-com.
Okay.
Sorry, Darwin. So one could say you.
Okay.
Love is
I have renamed Trez to Brick Child.
Okay.
Alright, sorry, Darwin. You can continue.
Okay, moving on. I stand by the assertion that there is too much anime about war to watch in one human lifetime, or to watch in one semester. Not necessarily in one human lifetime. That's more of an exaggeration for like the professor's effect.
Definitely.
But anyway, next thing, my solution: simplify. As you can see here, I boiled down the anime to 3 different categories, examined several popular anime in which armed conflict is a central element, and categorized them all to the best of my ability. Now, what this means is, I took a bunch of shows that I've already watched from the past decade, and then categorized them into different different pools that I came up with.
So we're really just watching your MAL.
Yep. You're watching my anime list about war anime.
This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good.
Okay, so I will actually stand by the 3 different categories, though. That is something that I both I fucking believe that to be kind of accurate in terms of not just anime depictions of warfare, but all depictions of warfare. So the first element, the pro-war side of things, which includes Yang's dreaded worst thing ever.
No.
And so the JSDF fought. Joker Game, The Heroic Legend of Arslan, and Alderman on the Sky. These are all some of the...
Tanya the Evil?
You'll get to that later.
That is not a pro-war
Anyway,
story, but we'll get there.
But yeah, no. So as I say here, which is basically just me soapboxing, the heroes of these stories aren't necessarily strong advocates for the military going in, but they, by the end of it, were pretty firmly entrenched in the military hierarchy. They think that it's good, or at least are willing to operate within it at the behest of their superior officers or political leaders. Typically...
Wouldn't that make 86 also pro-war?
We'll get to that later.
Okay.
But anyway, typically these shows focus on specialty roles in the military. Joker Game is all about spies. Heroic Legend of Arslan is about the Prince of a Realm trying to, save the fucking kingdom. Alderman on the Sky, a talented military officer at the bottom of the military hierarchy, rising through the ranks. Gate, basically the same thing, but with more guns. And basically that just seems...
America right there.
Yeah, kind of. But it's basically just boiled down to, kind of demonstrate to people that, hey, military, good, you can be one of the cool guys doing cool guy shit, rather than one of the people digging the trenches or the latrine pits. Not all of these shows aren't quite equally pro-war. Alderman is kind of the exception that proves the rule here, because the dude is a total slacker, but he's the physical embodiment of, if you have a difficult task, find a lazy officer to accomplish it, because he will find the most efficient way to accomplish that objective. And he does generally follow military orders and procedures, so he's kind of entrenched in the military hierarchy. He's a slacker, but that's part of military culture anyway, so still falls under this category. Up next, anti-war. Includes Code Geass, Gundam 00, Jormungand, and the Saga of Tanya the Evil.
You could probably put all the Gundams under that, to be honest.
Probably, but Gundam 00 is the most recent one that I've actually watched all the way through. And
Yeah, that's fair.
technically, I watched Iron Blooded Orphans, but that one would kind of fall more under pro-war than anything else, because it's very much...
You think?
Yeah, kind of. It centers around a bunch of child soldiers that are literally trying to free Mars by fighting a war against the UN. to get the Martian princess to Earth so she can speak at the United Nations General Assembly, basically.
Spoilers, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
Okay, that makes
Well, that's not really much of a spoiler. That's like episode 6.
basic
Hold on.
premise.
Hold on. Is the entire thing about the anime just nerd shit? Like,
What?
well, okay, so you know how like, hold on, I gotta words hard here. So
It's okay, Brick
like
Child, we
90s,
understand.
people. Okay, fuck you, Darman. So people like bully. It's high school, right?
Yeah.
Bullies. Okay. They find out like you. I listened to this one song, right, and it's fucking weird. It's about killing Xenos. Okay. It's a song.
I'm aware.
But like, I got bullied for it. So is anime just like a reflection of people who got bullied?
Not necessarily, but kinda.
No,
yeah.
no. Okay, so there's a good argument to be made, especially if you like look at some of the weird stuff that Jimmy Evangelion himself, Hideaki
Oh,
Anno, does.
yeah.
As a genre, it steeps very heavily into escapism, which is why you see so much isekai. But yeah, no, you're not completely off the mark there.
But yeah. Basically, anime, like most nerd subculture, is very much bullyable. And also a reflection of people's niche interests that they and few others like them enjoy. Anyway, so going back to the PowerPoint presentation from hell, the anti-war anime often depicts seemingly ordinary people getting wrapped up in rather brutal conflicts.
What the fuck was that? Hold on.
And
Keep going, Darman.
yeah, meanwhile, Brickchild is dealing with a personal intruder. But anyway, so relatively, it starts off with relatively normal people. They get corrupted over time or have to deal with really shit stuff. And it just demonstrates just how bad the world gets. A lot of, like, with Code Geass, you get the literal fucking nail on the head example of the evil paradox presented in Season 2 by Lelouch. Of the whole thing of, like, if you have evil in the world, and the only way to defeat evil is to commit evil yourself, do you commit the evil? Either way, evil's still gonna be around, it's just gonna be the difference between the evil that you already have and the evil that you will become. And it's a relatively decent paradox. Not all evils are created the same, though, which is where it kind of falls flat. But then again, that's the entire point of that show. Anyway, moving on. Some protagonists aren't exactly the reasons why these shows are anti-war. Tanya from the saga of Tanya the Evil is kind of the physical embodiment of war crimes in anime, but it's not her that really makes the show anti-war. It's everyone surrounding her who constantly sees the type of shit that she is doing and is horrified that that is even fucking possible, let alone being committed by like a 12-year-old girl. Also,
No. Tanya doesn't commit war crimes.
yeah, I'm sorry, but the bombing of the civilian factory is technically not a war crime in the same way that deploying mustard gas for the first time in Europe was not a war crime. Just because the statutes don't cover it doesn't make it not a war crime.
She gave them ample warning.
She gave them warning in a manner that suggested that it was a practical joke, thus misleading them.
Okay,
It's gray area.
the whole premise is that even the soldiers she's fighting along, the soldiers of the Mage Battalion are like, this isn't a war crime? And she's like, yeah, totally, technically.
Yeah,
It's not like...
it's not that they all agree. It's that they all are like equally like, fuck it. She's technically
There was
correct.
the-
Chemical weapons.
There
a
was
war
the
crime
whole
anyway?
like partition battle where she's like, we have to do this. If we don't, the big boys will get pissed at us.
I don't want a big boy to piss on me. Anyways, with that, I have to go for a little bit.
Oh god, okay. Do continue, though.
Okay. Anyway, so, but yeah, no. Tanya, example of how you don't need a main character to be necessarily on board with the whole war is bad thing in order to have an effective anti-war anime. Everything else here is pretty straightforward. Jormungand is all about people selling guns so that they can make enough money to fund a project to end war as a business. Gundam 00 is a bunch of people fighting to end war as a business, and Code Geass ultimately boils down to Lelouch committing such vile acts of terrorism and heinous bullshit that the entire world bands together and just fucking stops war. But yeah, no, anti-war across the. I just realized that Lelouch also kind of qualifies as the same vein as Tanya, but slightly different. Anyway, moving on to the last option here, the Pro Soldier anime. Now this one does include 86, Pumpkin Scissors, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Specifically the fucking not Imperial side of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. The other side of Legend of the Galactic Heroes is very much in the pro-war camp. Fucking Reinhard von Lohengram is a warmongering piece of shit. I am not a fan.
I think you could make some definite arguments about like sub-characters, maybe Kirscheiss.
Oh yeah, no,
I mean, he's just
Kirscheiss,
kinda
but Kirscheiss gets murked.
Lohengram tells you. oh no. Oh hey, look, it's me.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no. So this genre is marked by a condemnation of war as practice, but contains a lot of messaging about supporting individuals when they choose to engage in it as, you know, individual soldiers. Edward Elric, Vladilena Milize, Yang Wen-li, Alvis Malvin all go to their respective battlefields to protect or rebuild or fight for their own ideals, rather than to go to war. They have something else motivating them. It's not they go to war expecting glory, it's they go to war trying to accomplish something that they see value in. Yang goes to war to fucking preserve democracy. Edward goes to war in order to try and find a way to fix his brother and his broken bodies. Vladilena Milize goes to war to try and redeem the shit-tasticness that is her country's bullshit towards their own population. And Alice Malvin goes to war, goes to fight local corruption in her post-war ravaged Weimar Republic-esque Germany-type nation, in order to try and help it rebuild.
What would you consider Spy X Family then? Because
Spike's family.
It's not about war. It's a family drama with a war setting. It's not about.
Yeah. It's here's the thing. It's not a hot war. There's no real. The entire premise of Spy Family is probably closest to Pro Soldier, except for the fact that no one in it is really. I guess at one point, dear old dad, good old Twilight, was a soldier fighting for the West, but
No, he never was a soldier. He was too young.
I thought he was a child soldier.
I don't think so. Because there was like one
Darwin's right.
point. Oh, he was? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Technically, you can make the argument that Spy X Family belongs in this category. Personally, I view that as an intelligence drama rather than a war drama or war anime. But, you know, case could be made that it would fall under here as well. But yeah, no, throughout the course of these shows, there's a lot of demonstration that good and evil shit happens from both sides, and that the important thing in a war is to try to avoid doing as much harm as humanly possible, and to try and do as much good as you can. That general messaging. Along with that is an acknowledgement that soldiers are not the arbiters of war, and thus they do not deserve outright condemnation for their participation in it. Some may participate too frequently or participate too heavily and thus earn that condemnation, such as a large amount of the fucking Imperial military from from Legend of the Galactic Heroes, but for the most part, you don't really see that on the Republic side, except with a handful of standout examples, such as all the people who tried to do a military coup. Anyway, in this last
Green Hill Gang. Sorry.
fucking
Go ahead.
Admiral Greenhill and fucking Commodore Bucock, or was it Bucock? Was it Bucock the bitch? Or I'm trying to remember who the turncoat
Were there
was.
two? I think. I don't.
No, Bucock wasn't the asshole who got in fucking Greenhill.
No, you're right. The turncoat wasn't the. He was the Imperial
Yeah.
the dissatisfactor. Or whatever that they sent in?
defector.
A Lenin style?
He
Yeah, that's it.
basically he was fucking captured in Yang Wenli's early campaign as bait for Yang Wenli to evacuate the planet, at which point he was later fucking released as part of the prisoner exchange to create dissent behind the lines. I don't remember if that was Bucock or not, though. But anyway, now this is my attempt to tie everything that I just talked about, which is basically just me ranting about anime for however long I did the recording for. I can go back and check. I think it was about 10 minutes of ranting about anime and just tying it into global culture. And I basically make the assertion that most media doesn't really do the pro-soldier option. It falls under the pro-war, anti-war light, and it's a lot rarer to see the more beneficial, I view, pro-soldier media, which, you know, doesn't glorify war, but also doesn't demonize soldiers, which is kind of the right attitude to take in 9 times out of 10.
Is pro-soldier the right word? I think populist is probably more
Maybe
accurate.
populist, yeah, but like I bear in mind, I threw this together over the course of about 20 minutes. The broad strokes over 20 minutes, and then like the details I filled in over the course of like half an hour after that.
In that the subject matter tends to be either a condemnation or a
either
whatever.
a glorification or a condemnation, but not a nuanced take, which is the pro-soldier.
This is really like super heavily distilled isn't the right word, but like
it's condensed.
Oh, it's so no condensed. It's like oversimplified and condensed.
Oh, I know, because the final project was supposed to take 10 minutes to present, or sorry, not 10 minutes. It was supposed to be 5 minutes per person to present.
Yeah, there's only so far you can break down a genre.
No, you literally, I stripped this shit to the bare fucking bones to hit that 5-minute mark. I still went to 12 minutes in the final presentation, I want to say. 12 minutes or over. Can't remember which. But I'll get to the grading in a moment and tell you why that's fucking hilarious to me. But yeah, I'd make the assertion that the pro-soldier / populist ones operate to promote the understanding that not everything done in service is good, but those who choose to serve should not be vilified because of it. And next to global culture, in that the global war on terror was a very large conflict that did not just encompass the US and Canada. This isn't a distinctly US problem to have people come home from like Iraq or Afghanistan and be perceived as, you know, morally lesser than the average person simply for having participated in these conflicts. And that is the end of this presentation. So,
oh boy,
I would like you guys to guess what grade I got on this. Juggies, I think I told you, so you're exempt.
Yep, I already know what you got.
Yeah, so
okay, what was the like prompt? What was the genesis of what they were trying to get?
Create a PowerPoint presentation that demonstrates an understanding of the course material, which basically boiled down to a bunch of different readings about global culture and consumerism across a bunch of different industries, including anime, anime production specifically, globalization of video gaming in terms of the esports scene, including the promotion of FaZe Clan and 100 Thieves, and their acquisition / membership deals with prominent people like Snoop Dogg and other rappers and whatnot.
Okay, if that's the subject material, here's the thing though. I'm torn because as a fellow anthro enthusiast, right? I wouldn't want to give like a gorillion points because I feel like it didn't. I don't know. There wasn't enough of a connection to like existing scholarship. But at the same time, considering the subject material, I think it is closer to the mark. Oh shit! I don't know. Like
I'd give it a 91.
Okay, I should preface that this is out of 200 points.
Okay.
I'd give it a 91.
A 91 out of 200. Oh god.
Damn.
Poor guy got a 40.5%.
Yeah.
I'd give it like, I'd definitely give it like a high B. I think.
Okay.
Whatever the equivalent is, like 170 points or so.
Something like that. Yeah.
I'd give it like an A-.
Okay.
You're an A- kind of guy.
Okay, Jackie.
Well, there wasn't enough star swipe. Like the presentation, while accurate, could have used more flair.
Oh god. Not enough anime clip art. Okay.
Okay. Jackie, Twitchy, Carl, any of you guys got any more input?
Carl's deafened.
My mic was muted. I was saying mid B.
Mid B?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see it.
I got 200 out of 200 points on this.
Oh my god.
I win. What's my prize?
I got a perfect fucking score on this bullshit ass PowerPoint presentation, and people wonder how I wind up with imposter syndrome for shit.
Oh, that's slightly cursed.
Don't I fucking know it, Yang? Don't I fucking know it?
I remember how hard you worked on that essay as a counterexample.
I worked my fucking ass off on a goddamn 20-page fucking research paper about motherfucking Homeric epics and what
Yeah.
the heroes and villains in a Homeric poem can tell us about archaic Greek society.
Yeah, I actually thought it was quite good from what I read of it.
I did the rough draft I did on that, got an 88. The final draft got a 93. I got an A- in that
Nice.
class. That is probably more points than I deserved, in all honesty, because I did not like that final product.
No. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. We take it. We take these
We
dubs.
take the W, but we question the actual grade. But yeah, no. So like to have this be my final presentation, that I literally slapped together in under 2 hours, because like I genuinely just didn't give a shit, and I did maybe 3 recording attempts, not liking the first 2, and then I just settled on the third one. At grand total, that took me less than like 45 minutes to do all 3. To just come away with this as the final fucking product, and just get a perfect fucking score.
Just don't worry. Don't think about it. Don't sweat it. We take the dubs.
We take the
We run
dubs.
away.
Dubs and we run.
Exactly. Like, why do you think I waited till after grades were posted for me to start working on this fucking video? I didn't want the prof to even fucking possibly see this shit, and my own fucking ripping everything in here to shreds before
It's
that was set in
probably-
stone. There's no way he sees it, but
Probably
on
we
the
don't
off chance
bring
he
up-
fucking
yeah.
did, I did not want him to be able to retroactively change my grade.
It's probably best not to mention the university or the professor.
Nope. Well, in my defense, this course was exceptionally cursed this semester. It was supposed to be all in person, but then the original professor who was going to teach it had to go out due to sick leave, at which point she switched to all virtual, had like one semi-virtual, semi-in-person meeting that I didn't attend because I was confused as fuck as to what the hell she wanted. We then went basically 4 months without the prof doing anything to let us know anything about the course, at which point we handed in the first assignment, and then we had another professor who lives in New York, which is on the opposite side of the country from where I'm attending school, take over the course.